Hey everybody, welcome back. So, I made a decision, and I am actually going to redo a few, or handful, I don't know. I'm not redoing all of the artifact weapon quests that I did long ago on some of the other classes. I did this in separate playlists and such, which were my shaman in my main playthrough, my druid in my separate druid playthrough, my paladin in my separate paladin playthrough, my demon hunter in my demon hunter playthrough, my death knight playthrough. Lol. However, I looked back at some of those videos that I did on my old computer, and I'm not too happy with them. They were not a very good quality. It was on my previous machine, which made actually trying to play and show the game a little rough. Plus, I wasn't as inexperienced or as knowledgeable of a player then as I am now, both in terms of how I can play the game, but also in terms of my knowledge of what was going on in the lore and such. So, I'm going to be redoing some of them at my own discretion. There will be some I choose not to do, and some I will want to actually go ahead and do again. Well, since I'm going to be doing them anyway, since of course I'm going to be leveling some characters here in Legion, mainly, of course, the allied races, because I want those heritage armors. Which brings me to our guy here. You remember this guy, right? My Dark Iron Dwarf that I made some time ago? Yeah? So he is here. In Dalaran. He was just told by the Lich King to meet up with Landcrow here and the other Knights of the Ebon Blade. And, so I'm not going to be showing the Unholy one. I'm just letting you guys know that. I do not want to have to show that again. But I do want to show the Frost one and the Blood one. So, I especially want to show the Frost one here first. I'm going to do Blood on a separate character. But I especially want to do Frost because it's such an important polarizing quest, because of the weapon we're getting and because of what we do in that quest and what happens, because there's actually a couple things I do want to comment on now that I didn't get to comment on back then. That's kind of part of the reason I'm wanting to redo these.
We press on. We are done here.
We have an unexpected ally in this war, and we're going to need every advantage that we can get to defeat the Burning Legion. The Ebon Blade will serve as the Lich King's arm as long as the Scourge is confined to Northrend. In return for our assistance, our ally, that's the Lich King, just to remind you, has offered to assist in obtaining powerful weapons for the strongest of our knights. Weapons powerful enough to end the Legion once and for all. You are one of our best. I want you to decide which weapon that you would like to seek out.
Make it quick.
So in this one, we're going to be going after Frost. I'll be doing Blood in a separate video. I'm not doing Unholy again, but I will be doing Blood in a separate one, because I do want to comment on this one. But, of course, today we're going to be focusing on Frost. The legendary Frostmourne, even 4 years after its destruction within Icecrown Citadel, remains one of the most infamous weapons in all of Azeroth. With a bit of necromantic power, the broken shards could be reforged into a set of rune blades that have the potential to be as powerful as their predecessor, if not surpass it entirely. So there's a couple of funny things here about this historically, especially considering the big change that has come back to Frost in Shadowlands. And this was when Frost was now being considered a dual-wielding spec, which I've always been fond of dual-wielding specs. It's just a style I like, so I was completely fine with it. But some people were not okay with it because they liked wielding two-handed weapons like the other two specs were. I thought it was fine since we had two specs that were wielded two-handed, so why don't we get some variation here with the one-handed weapons, right? Well, apparently Blizzard decided, you know what, we're going to make it where you can do both, where you can either dual-wield or you can use a two-hander. So we can be able to use the two-handers as Frost again, so, but we're going to be going after these, but anyways.
You need something?
Excellent choice. And then the Lich King reaches out to me once again. Powerful presence again touches your thoughts. I have ordered your brethren to Icecrown to prepare for the coming conflict, but I have a more important fate in mind for you. You will be the hand of my vengeance. Use the Death Gate to return to Akris, and I shall reveal your role in this. So there's two things here that I want to point out that some people didn't really catch on as a hint as to what the third Lich King was capable of. Because the thing is, after the events of Wrath, a lot of people didn't really know what this new Lich King, when Bolvar put the crown on, was going to be capable of in terms of his power. And so this is the first time we've heard from him since Wrath. And two things are immediately revealed. One, he can talk to us at ease without any issue from basically wherever we are, which showcases how strong his range is, because he's communicating to us. Just to reiterate this, he's all the way up here. Now he's communicating to us down here, which is not that far, but there are times where it seems like he can be able to do this, like, just anywhere. Also, he can open a death gate just wherever we want. I also make this point because if we do the Unholy quest, he reaches out to us when we are down here in Karazhan. Just pointing it out. So, yeah, this is a really, strong showcase that this Lich King is still pretty powerful. So we're heading home. Home sweet home. I've always enjoyed the aesthetic of Icecrown. Not just the Citadel, but the zone itself. I like the frozen kind of ice look. I always have. So, of course, he summons Akris to Icecrown Citadel because he can do that.
Ah, so the Lich King chose you to be his hand. I'm not surprised. We have all heard of your exploits. Our forces have gathered from all across Northrend. When the call to action comes, and it will come soon, the Knights of the Ebon Blade will be ready. Make no mistake, we are not bound to this new Lich King. However, he may prove a valuable ally against the Legion. For now, our goals align with his. And in the meantime, it is in our best interest that the Scourge stay contained. The gates of Icecrown lie to the north. Do not keep our ally waiting.
Gotcha. Oh, hold on a second. Sorry, I didn't notice this before. Let me fix this. There we go. Can I just say I love the music here in Akris because it's very reminiscent of, the music of, not just the music we hear from the Wrath cinematic, but also just some of the music from Wrath, which was just wonderful. Because this is an instance, this is like one of the only times where we're going to be able to look up now and the sky is not going to be broken. Because if you go to Icecrown now in this pre-patch, because I'm doing this once again, just to remind you, this is during the pre-patch of Shadowlands. So if you go to Icecrown, the zone, the sky is going to be broken. But here in this instance, it's not. So just kind of take this in. The sky of Icecrown, the zone, not broken. It's going to be one of the only times we see it from now on. So this is really cool.
Minerva, we're about to pull out of here. Mograine will kill us if we hold things up.
We're already dead, idiot.
I like Minerva. She gets a little nuts, but I do like Minerva. So this is a really cool thing. This kind of ramp here. It's kind of like... It's a showcase of like how a ship, which it helps showcase Acris as, you know, like an offloading ramp, you know, like a vessel, where it can be able to like move over here and be able to have a ramp to kind of unload troops and, you know, other things. It's just a really cool showcase. It's like one of the only times we ever actually get to see it. And it makes me wonder if the other necropolis, like Noxramas, had one of these to be able to, like, you know, disembark, you know, troops or load troops or other things onto the fortress. Anyways, it's just a really cool showcase I like. Deathbringer's Rise. You know, it says something about how this platform is simply named after Deathbringer. Because, of course, it is. I've heard the tales of how incredibly difficult 25 heroic Deathbringer Sourfang was back in the day.
Enter, champion. There is much to be done.
So, if this... So let me just say, if those of you who perhaps saw my... if you saw my video where I discussed the cinematic for Shadowlands, and then I linked the video that Belilar put in there about his, you know, the thing about who the Lich King actually is, it's an interesting theory, but these interactions here in Legion just kind of make me go, wait a minute, then how does this work? Like, who are we talking to? Are we talking to the jailer? Or are we talking to someone else? Or are we talking to Bolvar somewhat having control but also struggling? Like I feel like we need a little bit of clarification on what exactly is going on here, because if this is in fact the jailer we're talking to,
Many of the souls freed by Frostmourne's destruction wander the halls of Icecrown, lashing out in eternal torment. Destroy them and gather the fragments of the blade, for they will be the heart of your new weapon.
you know, why are you just letting them wander around, Lich King? You can stop them. You're the Lich King. You're fully capable of doing that. But that's kind of part of what made this Lich King and Legion so interesting, was we know he could. He's just not doing so. Why? Well, because he wants us to do it. He wants to make it seem as if we have to, when the reality is we don't. He's just simply not doing it because he wants us to do it. Like, he does ask us to do a couple of messed up things, even in this one quest alone, because of who we're going to be encountering. Now, I actually had to recheck and re-look up who it is we're encountering here. Not just for myself, but I don't blame people for not remembering the 4 individuals we're going to be encountering in this quest.
I do not have a target!
I like Frost. I really do. Come on. Come on. Right there. Alright, now you... Oh. Bale gun. So... The Lich King is going to comment on this in just a second, but for those of you who don't remember who Balegun is, in Warcraft 3 The Frozen Throne, when Death Knight Arthas and Anubarak were trying to make their way through the catacombs of Azjol Nerub to Icecrown to save the Lich King from Illidan, they encountered Balegun. Balegun was part of the dwarves' forces that worked with Muradin. And he shows up and he basically is like, "You killed Muradin, you monster! And I'll make you pay for it." And we then killed Balegun.
Balegun's soul was cursed to relive the moment of his death for eternity, and will see you as his enemy. Destroy him.
So, just to reiterate what Bale gonna sing here, did that traitor of a prince send you? So be it, I'll show you no mercy. You and that prince of yours are gonna pay for what you did to old Meriden. Ow, ow. Okay, hold on. I was actually dying there for a second. I was trying to show all the dialogue, in the process I actually started to die. He apparently hurts. So just to remind you guys, these spectral beings we're seeing here, every undead that we're encountering here, are supposedly from Frostmourne. And they're just kind of out and about. But the funny thing is, as I said, the Lich King is fully in his power to be able to just be like, alright, you're under my control again. Because he can do that. But he's not doing that. He's just kind of letting them do that and then asking us to deal with them. This is what made the, dealing with the Lich King and Legion so interesting. That he was doing things the previous 2 iterations of the Lich King would not have done. Because the Lich King from Wrath, when he was using Arthas, would not have done that. He would have just been like, alright, you're my minion now. But this version of the Lich King was more like, I'm going to strike bargains with you. I'm going to persuade you, make deals with you. I showed this in the Fire Mage quest. That's what he was kind of doing. And it was no different with the Death Knight. So now we're going to be picking up a Fragment of Frostmourne. This seems smart. Which is still having souls apparently leave it after the events of Wrath. Yeah. It seems to drain away all heat in its presence. I mean, remember that we are playing a Frost Death Knight. Let me tell you guys something. If they had revealed that rather than the Blades of the Fallen Prince that we're getting, that instead we were actually going to be able to actually, recreate Frostmourne, but a slightly different version, not the exact same version, but, just kind of a two-handed variation of what was Frostmourne or something like that, I think people would have gone insane. Like, oh my gosh, yes, we finally get to have a transmog version of Frostmourne.
Tortured within Frostmourne till he cursed the light. Now that he has forsaken it, slay him.
So that's kind of the cruel aspect that I was kind of talking about. So he was tortured till he cursed the light. Now kill him. Now that he has finally forsaken it, kill him. Or rather, end his existence or whatever. Soul Link. The spirit is linked with a source of great power. I think that's kind of an indication right there that he's still linked to the Lich King. The Lich King is just simply allowing this. Now, if you're wondering who this is, he was in Frozen Throne. I believe he was in the mission when you start the Scourge campaign, where King Arthas returns, and he's trying to chase down the refugees in the ruins of Lordaeron. Well, Halak here was one of the people who was trying to help to save the refugees and fight off Arthas and the Scourge. He failed. Death Knight Arthas killed him. And, yeah. The king may have fallen, but I will never abandon Lordaeron. The light. No. So usually if you see a named, they're, one of the ones we have to actually fight off in order to, get the shard.
I didn't have a target!
The next one we're facing, Magroth, actually was with Halak in that same mission. I rechecked this. I looked it up just to remind myself, just so I can inform everybody why we're encountering these people, is because these are individuals that Death Knight Arthas killed, and, back in Warcraft 3, and thus ended up in Frostmourne.
Even when consumed by Frostmourne, the soul of Magroth
You unholy monster! The righteous fury of the light will tear you apart!
I require a target.
Peace at last. Alright. There's one more. By the way, these characters' titles have actually changed.
I'm out of range. Must get closer.
Once hailed by Arthas as a brother,
Too far away.
Gavinrad too was ultimately fed to Frostmourne. Grant him a final death.
So Gavinrad is in the mission where Death Knight Arthas is going after the urn held by Uther to try and save Kel'Thuzad. Gavinrad was the first paladin in Arthas' way to finding Uther, where he was like, "We brought you in and treated you as a brother. We should never have brought you into our order." You know, like he basically completely disowned Arthas. You know, just like I can't believe he once called you as a brother. You know, yeah. He wasn't called Gavinrad the Cruel in Warcraft 3, by the way. This is his new title for what he is now.
I do not have a target.
The pain is over. And now it's time to go to the Frozen Throne.
Behold, the hilt of Frostmourne. From its broken form, you will create a blade without equal. Approach and channel your power into it to create your weapon.
Quite a shot here, isn't it? The third Lich King sitting on the Frozen Throne, the hilt of Frostmourne and ice in his vision. Just saying, it's quite a sight. You can still see some... What's interesting is you can still see some power coming from the hilt of Frostmourne. Alright.
It is done. From the shards of Frostmourne, the twin blades are born. Soon, they shall feed upon the souls of my enemies. I sense powerful spirits remain within the blades. Enter into the spiritual realm within, and purge them of all that resist your domination.
Now, what we encounter inside here, I do want to comment on.
Take up the blade, Arthas Menethil. Embrace your destiny.
You are right. I will bear any curse to have my revenge. What? An intruder? You won't stop me. Frostmourne will be mine! Nothing will stand in the way of my vengeance.
How dare you interfere? His soul belongs to me!
So, a lot of people have speculated about this. I don't think this is actually the soul of Ner'Zhul and Arthas, as some people thought it was. Notice that they are titled Echo of Arthas and Echo of Ner'Zhul, which I believe is all they really are, just simply echoes of what were. this is actually not something that's incredibly uncommon in Warcraft. This is actually something has actually been showcased, like echoes of Medivh and such, just as an example.
Let the darkness consume you. Feast upon the souls of the
Casting Dark Pact.
I'm out of range. Must get closer.
He's got Divine Shield. But yeah, I don't think this is actually Arthas and Ner'Zhul's soul, because the thing is, the implication is that Ner'Zhul has been, the soul of Ner'Zhul has not been within the helm since the Arthas Rise of the Lich King book, where Death Knight Arthas, when he put the helm on at the end of Frozen Throne, killed Ner'Zhul because he didn't want to share the power of the Lich King with him. He wanted it all to himself.
I require a target.
And we know for a fact this cannot be Arthas' soul because it's in the maw. So, I'm convinced at this point this is neither actually Ner'Zhul nor Arthas, but rather just simply an echo of what was here. That's all.
Curse you, interloper! All my plans ruined.
Because now it says, well, the blades have now been purged of the corruption. Which means that it was just simply all that was left of those two within the blades. And we have now... Because then the implication would be that we just simply destroyed what was left of Arthas and Ner'Zhul in terms of their souls here. Which is why I'm convinced at this point that those were just simply echoes of what was there, and is, you know, just that there's nothing more to it than that. That wasn't actually Ner'Zhul. Ner'Zhul's dead. He's been gone for a long time. And we know for a fact that, you know, with the recent material that's come out, that Arthas, that couldn't have been Arthas and what remains of his soul, because it's in the maw. It has been since we beat him at the end of Wrath. So, I just want to clarify that, because I've actually had some argument and debate with some people about this, about Ner'Zhul. Ner'Zhul has been gone since the end of Frozen Throne. Period. It may not be officially confirmed, but based on what I read in that book, and the stuff that they've shown here, I'm convinced of it at this point. It may not be official, it may be just a theory, but it's something I am personally convinced of.
You have done well. Ascend to my throne and receive your charge.
I will admit the baseline one isn't that great looking, but you do get some upgrade appearances for it, which are pretty cool. By the way, I love that when you pick it up, you actually get the, you know, somewhat of the music of, you know, from Wrath. Very appropriate. So it used to grant the Crystalline Swords ability, which would unleash floating swords in the air that would impale your enemies. When my days have come to an end, you shall be king. Just so much, like, if you know, love the stuff from Wrath, this was just such a cool mission for little things here and there. You know, acknowledging the history of Arthas and the Lich King, stuff from Warcraft 3 and Wrath. And then to end it, we of course ascend to the Frozen Throne to obtain the Lich King's blessing.
Where the weak showed mercy, you did not hesitate to strike. Where the unworthy were vanquished, you have conquered. I now mark you with my sigil. Let all recognize you as the enforcer of my will. as we speak. The Ebon Blade is en route to the Broken Isles to hunt for the Dread Lords. Go. Ensure that not a single demon escapes my wrath. Crush all who stand in your way.
Yes, sir. It's kind of fitting seeing the Hollow's End pumpkins in Acris, isn't it? Hey, Amalthazar. Ah, the disciple returns triumphant. You have done well to remember the lessons I've taught you. I love that he's voiced by the guy who voiced Lee in The Walking Dead.
We know much about sacrifice.
The Lich King made a wise choice in giving you those blades. You've more than proven yourself worthy of them. I have to admit, though, I am glad it wasn't me. I'm through with having magical weapons dictate my fate.
See it through. It is time you are given a position that befits your accomplishments. Knights of the Ebon Blade, assemble as we honor one of our own. Before us this day stands our comrade in arms. You have all heard the legends of countless battles fought, of trials overcome at great cost. His exemplary deeds in the name of the Ebon Blade have shown him to be one of the best of us, worthy of our highest honor. By the will of the Lich King, and upon my authority as High Lord, I declare that this champion, wielder of the blades of the fallen prince, will henceforth be known as Death Lord of the Ebon Blade. You will all bow to him as you once did to me, and carry out his will against the Legion! We are driven by a single purpose: retribution. We are eternal. We are unyielding.
Another time.
Alright, so I'll deal with that later as I level this guy. Before we end this, I'm going to head upstairs and show you guys some of the appearance stuff that you can do for this. So these are the basic appearances. You, of course, can get slightly different color tints for them. These are the upgrade appearances that you get for finishing the Order Hall campaign. I do like them. Syndragos' Fury. More of a bone-like appearance than a blade. This is for doing the Balance of Power questline. You can see there the hilt kind of looks like Syndragos' skull, and you see the blade looks like a bone. Gravekeeper. This is the PvP appearances. Kind of more bulkier kind of blades there, not very thin. So, you know, the baseline are okay. I do like these upgrade appearances. I do want to get the Syndragos' Fury ones, and these are fine for what they are. Now, if you're curious about the secret appearances, I have them, and I will show them. They are a little odd, though.
I have just the thing, Wanderer.
They are these right here.
Good fortune to all friends of the Grummels.
very interesting, like, fell versions of these. Now, there are extra color variations of them. You, of course, would have to, you know, do the things where you, like, do a certain number of dungeons, kill a certain number of players, do a certain number of world quests, if you want to get other colored versions. This is all I've gotten on my Death Knight so far. It's just the baseline one. Now, how you get them, there is a certain world boss that spawns up here in Shield's Rest. I believe it's called the Soul Takers. It's actually not one enemy, it's 3. It's like a council world boss. Yeah. I couldn't solo them when I was trying to get these. I had to, like, ask some players to come help me out. Yeah. So. But, they are what drops, the secret appearance for the Blades of the Fallen Prince here. So. And remember, in order to, you know, when you have these, you can then be able to treat yourself to some cool little extra bits of lore here by going to places, you know, certain places on the map in each zone where you encounter echoes of Arthas. And, yeah. So, that is the quest for the Frost Death Knight weapons. I just wanted to comment on those couple little things here, you know, about this quest that some people have speculated on. So that's my take. I will be doing a video on the Blood one, just because I find it a little interesting, and plus I wanted to inform you guys about a couple of things about it that I thought were cool. One especially in particular, that I didn't know about until I actually was doing a Mog run, and then was like, oh my gosh, that's cool. So I will be letting you guys know about that. As far as redoing other stuff, I'm more than likely thinking about redoing Guardian Druid, Holy Paladin, maybe all 3 of the Paladin ones, maybe, you know, possibly, I'm very much debating the other Druid ones. I'm not going to do Balanced Druid, even on a Worgen Druid, just no. I'm not doing the Karazhan quest again and again and again. But Feral and Resto, well, that's interesting. Actually, I may do Resto because there's a couple little things I found out about that I thought were kind of cool. And, I don't know, maybe Feral just to, I don't know. We'll see. I'll think about it. So I will see you guys next time.